All right, welcome into the Garza Law preseason edition of the Garza Law Basketball Overtime. As this one's just about wrapped up. 3.9 seconds left. Duke going to go to a victory as it's 82-76. Alex Myers in here along with Brian Hartman. Tony Basilio getting rested up for week one, as he has had, as anyone out there can imagine, he's had a lot of reps this week. So he's going to take the night off. He's helped us some pre-production stuff, and he'll be back on the air with you tomorrow. Tennessee misses a last-second shot at Gillespie 3, trying to inch him closer. The final score, Duke 83, Tennessee 76. Brian Hartman, as I welcome you in, before we go to the phones, if you'd like to jump in. We've got a couple folks already on hold, and we got one open line right now. 865-200-5402 is the number. Again, 865-200-5402. A game that was it was interesting. I think the first half, as a basketball junkie, as a Tennessee basketball fan myself, it was quite enjoyable. It was something that you could take a lot from, a lot of things to work on, lots of positives. Second half, not nearly as positive, I didn't think. It was a little bit more of a sleepy half, it felt like. And we've got some takeaways, but one of the biggest things for me personally, the post depth for the Vols in that 4 and 5 spots. Maybe this is a little early to be saying this just after one look at them. To me, that seems about as deep as I've ever seen a Tennessee post room, and not just the depth from the amount of players that seem like they can play out there, but how big those guys are. Tonight, I walked in here thinking, okay, Gillespie and Ament are the guys that I'm watching for. The guy that stuck out the most to me was Dwayne Brown, the freshman from Alabama. He had 10 points at halftime and physically looked like a guy that's been in the weight room for 4 or 5 years in Tennessee's athletic program. To me, those post guys, those younger guys, and those new guys, they look more like the Barnes post of the first 3 or 4 years, where those guys look like almost more like linebackers. I mean, those are big, tough, strong guys. And it looked like Duke was ready for that toughness and that strength. I know a few years ago, Tennessee kind of clowned Duke for, it was kind of a street fight when they met in the Elite Eight, in the Sweet 16. And Tennessee just out-toughed Duke. Tonight it looked like this Duke program wanted to be more prepared for that physicality, and certainly they look like they were. So we'll get to the phones, but Brian, I want to get your take in here as we've got full phone lines again on the Garza Law Tennessee basketball overtime as Tennessee falls to Duke. Brian, your thoughts on this preseason matchup tonight? The game that counts, but it doesn't.
It doesn't count. That's what we need to remember is this game is an exhibition. They've tinkered with lineups where if it were a real game they needed to win, they would not have done some of the things they did. But you talk about post depth. This team looks like it might be the best rebounding team maybe Barnes has had, maybe one of the best rebounding teams we've seen, despite the fact that Boozer, who not many players out there can do what he could do, but they still, to me, look like they're going to be very good in the post, especially rebounding. I like Okpara. I think he looks like he's gotten better from the year before. And Ament's definitely not shy. He's not deferential, but I'd say you'd have to say he probably is a little bit wild at this point, but I'm sure as we get into the season that'll get under control somewhat, and he'll be a much better player then. So, yeah, I liked a lot of what I saw. The second half was kind of ugly, and it's sort of both teams kind of, but I think both teams went on like long field goal droughts, but that's sort of to be expected. And I think it's something I think it actually portends well for a very exciting basketball season for the Vols.
1,000 people joining us over on Twitter Spaces. We invite you to join there. You can join us on the app, and of course you can join us over on YouTube. Tony Basilio on YouTube. He and Laura have been really pumping that up and growing that platform. So however you want to consume the program, you can find us there and do that. A couple other quick takes that I took away, and then we'll get right to yours, and it'll be phone calls until the end. We're not going to be on here real long. It's a preseason game, so we'll treat it as such, but we want to hear from you. Gillespie, to me, has some Lamonte Turner in him. He's a guy that's probably single-handedly going to win you a couple ball games, and simultaneously seems like a guy who there's going to be a couple ball games where he just really, really frustrates you if his shot's not falling. A little bit wild. I think Barnes will pull the reins in on him a little bit. Some of the passing tonight was less than perfect. But he looks like he's going to be a good player, a confident player. Clearly, I'm sure there was some nerves playing in that game in his first game back playing for the home team here, as he's from Greenville, just up the road. And then to me, Ament, he's got to be more aggressive. They said something about having dog in him at the beginning of the night. I didn't see a lot of that tonight. Doesn't mean it's not there. But as you might expect, a freshman on that big stage, he was just a little bit quiet. Did some nice things. You saw some flashes of why folks are so high on him. That first shot of the game where just a little turnaround 10-footer and just went up and over the defender was beautiful. But he's got to be a guy who, if it's not falling for Gillespie, I think that's got to be able to get some buckets for you. And tonight, he or Gillespie, neither one of them had their best shooting nights. Let's go straight to the phones, 865-200-5402. We'll get our first call in. Welcome in to the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime.
Hey, guys, Dave.
Hey, Dave.
If Amen and Gillespie are your leading scorers, we're going to be your two go-to guys. We're in for a long season. Amen, it's just typical Barn. Team can't shoot again, and it just, and this team's probably not going to be as good defensively. You lost your best two defensive players. Amen. I mean, the only good the only great five-star Barnes has ever signed is Kennedy Chandler. The rest of them are all G League players. When he's a G League player.
Now, Dave, I think that's a little early. I think Ament is a guy who can score at three levels, and he didn't shoot well tonight. I'm not going to try to throw water on your leg and tell you it's raining, but I think he's a better.
He's not strong enough, man.
No, I think he's a better shooter than he showed tonight. I think he's a guy with capability of shooting the ball. I'll disagree with you there, but I have no argument that tonight he wasn't there.
Do what now?
I said I'm not going to argue, though. We'll disagree on his shooting ability in general, but we won't disagree that tonight it wasn't there for him.
Well, we lost to Indiana last year, and I came on here and said what I said, and we were a good team last year, so maybe I'm wrong again. But we got good size and big guys down low, but we let freshmen and sophomores just bully us in the second half.
Now
that's not, huh?
That is something that surprised me. With the post depth impressed me, but at the same time, I was surprised at how Duke was able to just shove us around a little bit. And I do think you're right, Dave, that Tennessee defensively is not going to be maybe as elite or as strong as they have been in the last few years. And I think that's okay if you're better offensively, which I think this team has the capability to do. A guy like Estrella not being there last year, he's going to be an improvement for you. I think that's okay, but I do think this is going to be a weaker defensive
well, here's
team.
Here's my thing, guys, is that you should have spent the money on the two guard. You should have spent the money on the two guard. And they didn't, and they're going to pay for it. They don't have a two guard that can shoot, and that's obvious. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Dave. Open line at 865-200-5402. We'll go right back to the phones, but I want to address a couple things he just said. He talked about he was kind of negative and ended up being wrong about the Indiana game last year. I don't know that Rick Barnes is all that upset, at least behind the scenes. I wouldn't be surprised if a night like this was about exactly what the doctor ordered, because if you're Rick Barnes, you can go out there and say, hey, we saw some stuff, we competed with them, and we stayed with them, but at the end of the day, a loss in this game, to me, a loss in this game does more for you going forward as you prepare for the regular season, because you got more stuff to work on, and you don't have to worry about your guys, kind of feeling high and mighty because you lost the game. It's a nationally televised deal. To me, and this is what Dave's alluding to, is Boswell being your main two guard. I agree with Dave that if Boswell's your main two guard, that's not ideal with the rest of the roster, with a guy like Ament, paying him what you are, to trot him out there for 30 minutes a game this year. And that's no offense to the guy, but I would contend The other two guys are relatively new guys, not known for necessarily being the best defense. The Abram guy, the guy from Israel. I would not be surprised, or it would surprise me if Boswell is your starter and is playing as many minutes long term as he did tonight. To me, I don't want to say it's a bit, but to me, that would surprise me if we see as much Boswell when it counts as we did tonight. Brian?
I don't think you would have seen him as much if it was a game, say in December. I just don't think they would do that as much. So yeah, you're right.
And we'll see. There's a lot of interesting stuff to talk about.
This is really good teaching. A good teaching for the team.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know that Barnes. To me, I think there's a few things he handles differently, and we can get into that as the show goes. But I think there's a few things that he handles differently if this was a real live basketball game. Like towards the end, I'm saying I'd like to see Amit be more aggressive. They kind of let him have his way towards the end of the game. You get some stuff on film, you get some stuff to work on. What worked, what didn't. I think there's some stuff that they were doing to kind of toy around and play with that, again, I don't think that they would have done if this was the second, third week in March. Welcome in to our next caller, 865-200-5402, if you'd like to join us.
Alex Myers, Brian, it's Zach from Elizabethton. What is up, dudes?
What's going on?
Hey, I meant to be the first caller, but Nega Dave was probably waiting for since about 9 minutes of the second half left. So
it's pretty accurate statement.
Can't win them all.
Pretty accurate there, Zach.
You got my mint pun too. So I was at the game tonight. We looked good tight in the first half. The one thing that kind of, with all the the upsizing we've got on our front court, we got worked on the offensive glass. They had I want to say they had maybe 20, 25 offensive boards. We had to leave a little early, but and also we didn't get any penetration. So I don't know if the stats changed, but at one point we had 0 free throws made where they had 15. So those are two things that were a little, on the negative side.
Yeah, they I don't think Tennessee hit a free throw till fairly deep into the second half. They finished 25. This just screams Duke. 25 of 27 from the line. Tennessee was 10 of 14, so they shot 13 more free throws than Tennessee, and they out-rebounded Tennessee 48-39. So a nine differential on the total rebounds tonight. And they had 16 on the glass. So, kind of Dave, I think, alluded to, and I think you're kind of alluded to, I was surprised at the physicality from Duke, and that's a credit to them. I was surprised. Yeah. You don't see a Rick Barnes team kind of get out-physicaled around the glass, and that certainly happened tonight.
It's been a while.
Anything else for us, Zach?
No. Well, who was your? Other than maybe Brown, what can Brown do for you? Who was your top guy? Brown came in and really put. I'm hoping he can bring some DJ Burns type work, but I just wanted to get your take on JP. He kind of got messed with a little bit, and I don't know if Phillips was hurt or not, but I don't know. I just I got mixed emotions.
Yeah.
But I like seeing the offense, and I guess we're gonna ride with this year. Thanks for doing the show tonight, guys, and let me know what you think about Australia and who your favorite guy was.
All right, appreciate you. Yeah, Estrella, to me, he's clearly one of the more talented, and I think that's another guy that you didn't see tonight what you're gonna see from him. Only took 2 field goals, was 2 of 2, finished with only 5 points, and let's see, only 2 rebounds. So that's a guy with as much upside as just about anybody on this team, maybe outside of Mint as far as from a pro caliber standpoint. But you have to realize that that's a guy who missed basically all of last year. So a preseason game with a guy that's got some injuries, that's again, and that's what's kind of fascinating, Brian, about this game is there's stuff that you think you can take away what you want, and you can also discard what you want by going, well, it's just preseason. They didn't really, it's not how they would have handled it. Or you can look at it kind of from Dave's perspective and go, what are we doing? If we can't do this in the preseason, how are we going to do this in the middle of the SEC schedule against Kentucky? Brian, I'll let you take Zach's question. What did you think of JP's performance, and then who was your kind of standout of the game outside of Min and Gillespie? Who and Brown,
Well,
who surprised you tonight?
Brown and Akpara, to be honest with you, I liked how he looks like he's taken a step. He's looked like he was a lot more confident than he was when he first got here last year at this point. I liked his development and all that. And Estrella, yeah, he's going to be a little bit – he's coming off that injury. It's going to take him a bit in a few games to get back into the kind of shape he wants to be in. But I like the fact that him and JP and Phillips work really well together. And even Akpara and I guess it was Estrella even hit a 3 or 2, I think. So that's something that teams are going to have to take into account going forward. Is unexpected, especially – that corner 3 is the hardest shot on the court to make, I think.
Yeah.
You play a lot more basketball than I do, but that seems like to me that's the hardest shot to make. Anything from the corner is, and that's one thing that I was surprised. Akpara just looked very confident with that stroke, and he just looked very confident.
Yeah, it's the least favorite shot it was of mine personally, because you just don't have it. You don't have it. If you miss long, it's an air ball. I mean, there's nothing back there, and for a lot of shooters, it's the same way. Let's go back to the phones, 865-200-5402. Full bank of calls here as Tennessee and Duke battled it out in a preseason matchup over at Thompson Bowling Arena. Welcome into our next caller.
Alex, Briney, Bobby.
What's up, Bobby?
Appreciate you guys. Can you hear me okay,
Yeah,
Alex?
yeah, we got you. What's going on?
Well, Dave. He also said Chaz Lanier was a bust when we played Indiana and when we went 3 for 16 last year too. I remember that specifically. Yeah, it's not great when your two best players go 10 for 39 combined, but I think we found something with the Dwayne Brown kid. I think he's a nice addition. I think he might be Darlingstone Dubar, but with rim game, and I think there's a lot of positives to be taken out of tonight. I'll tell you this right now, guys. If there's 17 teams better than Tennessee in the country, I'd like to damn well see them.
Yeah, to me, Tennessee Tennessee looks like they should be in that 10 to 12 range for me.
Yeah,
and especially when you consider
we got dominated in the second half.
Yeah, you got beat up in the second half physically. Your two best players were kind of no-shows offensively, and then maybe your second best pro prospect in Estrella has 5 points and only takes 2 shots, and you had a shot to tied up down 3 with 40 seconds left.
Yeah, and that was a nice pick, by the way. And also, I'm just going to say this may be over the top, but we played the best player in college basketball tonight too. That Booth is insane. Yeah,
I was tired of seeing Carlos in the stands and tired of hearing the name Boozer at about the under 16 timeout tonight. I'll be honest with you. I'm glad that they're not in our league.
He already had 12 points and 8 boards by then.
Probably. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Hat tip to him. I mean, I don't know if there's going to be a guy who played the kid from BYU. I don't know how to pronounce his name. He might be better, but I don't think we're going to play anybody better than that kid this year. So maybe it's not time to quite jump off bridges yet. But I think that I actually liked what I saw. I don't know. Is the two boys just been locking up on defense, so we got to be a little bit tougher. Nate Ament's a finesse player. He's a 6'11" finesse player. That's okay. He's going to be playing there too. And by the way, Bishop Boswell being in there so much, guys, there's no doubt that was to get somebody's attention. In my opinion, he is not going to be playing 30 minutes a game this season. He might get 10 or 12, and he's a great off the bench defender, especially when he shuts somebody down. He's pretty quick because he's got quick feet. But no, he ain't going to be playing that much. I ain't sweating this. And I think Tennessee actually pretty well impressed me tonight. So it's a good one.
All right, appreciate you, Bobby. Yeah, watching Boswell and Gillespie out there at the same time, Brian, I was kind of seeing double. And at first I thought, boy, Boswell's taking a lot of shots. And then they showed the replay because we had it on mute over here for a minute. And then all of a sudden it was like, no, that's Gillespie. That's not Boswell. Those somebody's, I don't know. I was like seeing double there for a minute.
And they played in the court together so much, and I couldn't tell one from the other. So I think Boswell his number is 3, correct? And Gillespie 0?
I think Gillespie 0, or maybe it's the other way around. But yeah, I'm with Bobby, and I think here's the thing about this game: you go out there and get beat by 30, you got problems, you got concerns, and you feel awful. Anything tonight where you lose by single digits or win the game, and you feel great, because there's no scenario where you don't come out of this game better for having played it. There's just none. Even if you get beat by 30, you're going to be better having faced that test and having that kind of realization. But they didn't. Tennessee hung in there, didn't play their best game, but had a shot at the end, and all of that while maybe kind of playing with some lineups and doing some things that they wouldn't have done had this game really, really counted. Let's go back to the phones. Welcome into our next caller. Thanks for being there.
Alex, Ronnie, it's Rusty. Thanks, guys, for doing this tonight.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Yeah, man. Let me see here. Let's start with this. Kind of like starts where I'm going with my call. Barnes wasn't trying to win that game just like he was last year against Indiana. We didn't run any offensive set pretty much the entire second half. We either let Gillespie or Ament just try to get off going one-on-one mostly. I mean, Duke was running extensive sets. They were running the ball through Boozer and then cutting off of it, making us get in rotation and then kick it out for a three-pointer or get to the rim with Boozer. And we just weren't trying to. And that's Barnes. A key example of that is I assume we're not going to have a last possession of a first half in a game 2 the rest of the year where we're up 8 and we can just hold it.
Yeah, that was.
And we go down court and jack up a 3. And I think that's another. Barnes had called a timeout between free throws leading up to that. I don't think he's going to allow that during a regular season game.
No, we've seen Barnes
swing right there.
Yeah, that was that. I made a comment. Tony and I were watching it upstairs, and as soon as he took that shot, I said, "You don't take that shot with 25 seconds on the clock. Especially, it wasn't even like it was an open. It was just like a falling away.
No, it was
three.
It was a dribble handoff, shoulders unsquared, jacked up 3. And again, Barnes had to have told him just go ahead and do it because we're not taking the game serious. I mean, that's my take on it. And we didn't against Indiana last year. It was the same thing. Boswell playing as much as he did is sending a message to Abrams 77 and to Bjorg 35. He's trying to get those guys. Starting Boswell was that, and then him playing as much as he did. That's making a point. Duke didn't even guard Boswell the last 10 minutes of the ball game. Whoever got switched or guarding Boswell just left him alone to stand on the perimeter wide open. And that's fine. I mean, if you're going to use that game for a practice, so be it. I get it. The blowout of Gonzaga a couple years ago didn't do us any good. That game, it didn't help us just to go run them off the court. So he's using it for practice now, and I get that. Just don't do it at home. Don't get your fans come out and sell out the arena and put it on ESPN2 if you're going to treat it as a practice. That'd be my only request.
Yeah, I mean, how would you like to have paid
or send messages? But don't make your fans come spend money and come out for it if you're not going to try.
Rusty, how'd you like to spend $150, $200 on some lower level seats to go out there and feel the way you feel about the willingness to get the thing done today? I mean,
we were doing a Spaces earlier, Alex, about last night's game and some other stuff. And I asked the question, everybody, will Barnes treat this like a real ball game, or would he treat it like a practice like he did against Indiana? And we all kind of had mixed feelings on it. Well, maybe it's Duke, and he'll actually care about that, and he'll want to give the fans a real try, but he didn't. As far as Ament goes, and him being a G League player or whatever was said, Ament's strength is going to be his length and ball handling and getting close to the basket. But pretty much every time he did, especially in the second half, you have Okpara and Brown both under the basket with their defender there, which kind of defeats Ament's best attributes. So I feel like you're going to have to – but, again, I'm saying this knowing we weren't trying to win and it's not what we're going to do in real games that matter. You got to have You got to have some space in the lane so Ament can have success whenever he gets 4 feet from the basket because there's not two help defenders there. And I think again, all this will get worked out.
Rusty, I appreciate the call.
Wait, one last
like
thing.
Yeah.
I know he threatened Bobby because Bobby said something a while back, and he came on the next day and told Bobby he was going to beat his rear end. Negative's either the most ignorant or dumbest caller in all of sports radio if he's making proclamations like same old Barnes and all kinds of other stuff from an exhibition game. And if you want to fight me, Dave, you want to fight me. This is verbal, not physical.
Appreciate you. No, I think Dave, I don't think it's a bit, and I think Dave's very intelligent. I just think he's, what is it that Tony says, Brian, fan is short for fanatic? I just think he's highly emotional when he's watching these games, and maybe there's a little bit of commit to the bit from him, but I just think Dave's highly emotional. I mean, some of the things that he said I wouldn't say, but perhaps I've thought before in the past, not on tonight's game, but I just think he's highly emotional. Going down the box score real quick, Tennessee was led by Gillespie with 19 points. Ament had 14 points. Gillespie, 5 of 21 from the field. Ament, 5 of 19. That'll probably almost never happen again. Okpara finished with 11. Brown with 10. I think he had 10 at half. He was 5 of 5. Again, kind of my highlight of the game. And another one of my highlights, Brian, as a fan of the mid to early 2000s era of all things, I liked Abram out there wearing 77. For a second, I thought Scooter McFadden was going to come out there on the court, and we were going to see Buzz Peterson or early Bruce Pearlball with the headband and the oversized undershirt. I am into that. I hope he sticks to that all year long. Let's go back to the phones. Brian, yeah.
This is like a NFL exhibition. Even they don't, and they charge full price for those games, and they try to win even less than what Tennessee did.
Wow.
So that is what it is. And I liked Abrams' second three after he hit one off the backboard. He drained the next one immediately. It didn't deter him.
Yeah. Back to the phones we go. Welcome in.
Hey guys, it's Dave in Ackworth.
Another Dave. Pause a Dave.
Trying to give Dave's a better name after earlier callers. Let's put it that way. First and foremost, in-game interviews with Rick Barnes, I will pay money to hear. That was the funniest 2-3 minute interview I've ever heard in my life.
High comedy.
You guys listen to it?
High comedy.
Oh my gosh.
It was my favorite Jimmy Dykes,
he was
like
so
3 minutes of
distracted by the
television
play
I've
on
ever
the
seen.
court that it was comedy gold.
Dave,
comedy gold.
when he was frustrated and mad about something that had just happened, and then Tennessee kind of lucked into a loose ball or something, and Cade Phillips goes and just shoves it and just two hands slams the deal, and you could tell he was trying to be mad, and then he just kind of Jimmy Dykes kind of looks at him, and then he's just kind of like, well, it happens sometimes.
Moving screen by either Estrella or Phillips, I think.
That was classic.
It was Estrella. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure Estrella played much after that, by the way. Seemed like after he hit his three and whatever, after he pulled that, he was a missing man for seems like the most of the second half. Look, I'll echo what Rusty said a minute ago. How many minutes did Boozer play? 36, 38 minutes, 40?
I'll tell you.
Was he in the whole game?
I think the Boozers, one of them was on the court the whole time.
I'm thinking Cameron Boozer played at least 36, 38 minutes.
Boozer played.
Shire was trying to win.
Boozer
tried really hard to win this game tonight.
Guys, get this. Boozer played.
No doubt.
Boozer played 39 minutes tonight.
Yeah, there you go. That tells you the difference in how each of these coaches approach this game. Shire tried to win this game. Barnes used this as a teaching thing, and I'm sorry, you pay $150 for an exhibition game, you don't get to complain. You know exactly what you're buying into, and that's on you. If I was going to that exhibition game, I would have come out of there thrilled with the basketball play because I thought Duke played really well in the second half. We played really well in the first half. I think that was a good basketball game overall. Yeah, we didn't play well in the second half, but Rusty made the point. We ran no offense in the second half. I think he was teaching Amen a little bit of a lesson. This isn't high school. You can't go one-on-one with everybody. And now, you'll need to play within our offense, and we'll work on our offense, because he was trying so hard to go one-on-one, and they weren't going to let him do that and get away with it. And I'm perfectly fine with that. I saw enough good things from enough people that made me feel good about tonight. I had no expectations of even winning this game. It wasn't a game, people. It was an exhibition.
Guys, I can't.
I think it was a really good exhibition. It was an exhibition of basketball that I thought was played at a fairly high level, if you ask me.
I think I can't personally. I'm not a sports betting guy. I don't keep up with it. I don't. It's not something that just kind of jives with my fandom. I just don't. It doesn't interest me. That being said, with the conversations that we're having, Dave, Brian, with Rusty a moment ago, with Dave earlier, it begs the question to me: was this a game that you could have bet on? And if so, imagine if we're having these conversations and it is a game like that. I mean, that's now you've got some people that could be potentially really angry. It shows my ignorance on the subject asking that. But can you bet on that game? Does anybody know?
Well, somebody might have come up with a line for it, but I don't think I saw it anywhere that would suggest you could.
Yeah, because you want to
talk.
You want to with NFL exhibition games. I think
Tony would say, "What kind of degenerate would be betting on an exhibition game,
or betting on raindrops at that point?" I mean, that's
you're getting what you deserve if you bet on an
Yeah, I'd say that's probably true.
Because a lot of them aren't televised.
But I'll say this: I think I saw enough good things. Gillespie's a little, definitely out of control, but I think Bird can shoot. And I think Bird's gonna be our two guard when it's all said and done. And I was just, I just, having any kind of real takeaway from this, other than, just looking at and watching and trying to digest it for what it was, is pointless. Yeah, they got out physical in the second half, but at the same time, Brown didn't play much in the second half. I think Tony saw. I think Rick saw all he wanted to see from Brown in the first half. He wanted to see other people play. Parr, I don't think, played a lot in the second half. He played towards the end, and he changed that. That physicality that they had for most of the second half. When Parr got back in the game a little bit, that changed a little bit. I will say this: getting that corner three open time and time again by Duke was a little bothersome. I was really surprised that shot was so uncontested. But I think that's a function of them being able to dribble, take their men off the dribble, and people having to come over to help. So defensively, yeah, they're nowhere near where they've been. But again, I think this is a great teaching moment for Barnes, and I'm excited about it. I didn't watch the Indiana game last year, and I was kind of frustrated by that. I wasn't frustrated by this at all. I'm excited about what we're going to see. So appreciate it, guys. Talk to you soon.
Appreciate you. A tale of two Daves. For the first time since prior to this game ending, we've got two lines available. If you'd like to call in, now's your chance to get on with us. Alex Myers, Brian Hartman in for Tony Basilio tonight. We may get joined by Matt Andor C here for just a few minutes. We won't be on real long with you, so if you want to call, go ahead and do it now. 865-200-5402 is the number, 865-200-5402 to get on and live with us here on the Tony Basilio platforms. You're listening to the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime for Duke and Tennessee's preseason matchup. As we go back to our phones, there's a couple lines open. If you want to do it, get in now. Back to the phones we go, Brian.
The first game is Monday, a week from tomorrow, against Mercer. It's a 7 o'clock game on, I guess, SEC Network Plus. And this is 2014-ish when they Duke got beat in the first round, and the Vols ended up playing Mercer in the second round. So that's what this kind of I'm having flashbacks to 2014 with this exhibition and then Mercer on the schedule.
All right, caller, welcome in.
Hey, Alex and Brian, it's JM.
What's up, JM?
Good to talk to you guys. Hey, I was kind of wondering all throughout the game. I was searching on X, I was Googling, I was texting friends, and everybody was just acting like they didn't know what I was talking about. But where in the hell was Amari Evans tonight?
Brian?
You know, I'm not sure. He's one of the new players that I don't remember them calling his name. I remember
I don't think he played at all.
Yeah, I don't. I'm
Was
about
he
to double
hurt?
check
Is
the
he
box score. I don't
injured
think he played.
that we don't know about?
I have no idea, but I was more excited about him than any player that we had.
Yeah,
I know Barnes wanted him really badly. He was a great defensive player. I know he went to war with Cooper Flagg and had a good performance in a game against him. And I just thought, what in the world's going on? There's got to be some reason for that. I'd be real disappointed if the reason is that he hasn't performed in practice or something. But if anybody knows, I'd love to hear what the reason for that was.
Yeah, we can kind of keep an eye on that if we find out. But yeah, no, he did not play. That's a guy I totally had forgotten about. He didn't play tonight. We certainly didn't see anything from him. But anything else you took away from tonight's ball game?
Well, I thought we looked pretty good. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I saw enough that I saw enough to see that we've got a good team. It's a typical Barnes team. I mean, they're gonna. I think they're gonna have every chance in the world to compete in the league and make a deep tournament run. And I think Duke's one of the best teams in the country, so it's a good team to test yourself against. There's a few wrinkles there that they'll iron out. I thought our bigs played really well. One slight criticism, and I like this guy a lot, but Okpara, I wish he would block more shots. It seems like a lot of times he's in really great position, and I think there's no way in the world the guy's going to score on him, and they do, or he fouls. And it just seems like I just wish he could swat a few more than he does. Just a slight criticism there. But, I mean, I thought Cade Phillips and him, we got a lot of size this year, so I think that'll be a huge advantage. I mean, I thought we looked good. Gillespie's a little bit, maybe he doesn't need to shoot as much, but, they'll figure that out. I'm sure Barnes will talk to him about it, and he just needs to play a little bit more under control. But, I mean, overall, guys, I liked what I saw. I think we've got another really good team.
All right, I appreciate the call.
Okay, guys, take care.
Yeah,
I think Okpara did have one block, did he?
Okpara had 2 blocks tonight, and, I think it was 2 years ago where he may have led the nation in blocks, but I think the stat was that had he been when he was at Ohio State the last year, I think had he had that many blocks and been at Tennessee that year, he would have broken, I guess, Pond's record for most blocks in a single season. So I think he's fine on the blocks category. Again, 2 tonight. I mean, maybe there was a few more that he was in position. Maybe the caller was saying that maybe 2 should have been 3 or 4 tonight. That wasn't something I noticed particularly, but doesn't mean it didn't happen. But we'll go back to our phones as we've had another couple folks jump on with us. Appreciate you joining us here on the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime. Welcome in.
What's up, Alex and Brian? This is Goldie.
Gold Brick. Doing well. Thanks for joining us.
Bricker.
Gold Bricker. Yeah, hey, I was just, I mean, I don't have, some sort of great take or anything on this game tonight other than the fact that I think it kind of seemed to me that they kind of had Cameron Boozer and we didn't to a certain extent. I mean, like, other than that, I thought that we looked pretty similar. I didn't think there was anything that they did that, that we couldn't handle necessarily. And the game seemed fairly even except for free throws. And Cameron Boozer he's just really good. I mean, you got to give kind of props to the guy, but yeah, I mean, everybody's saying about Gillespie taking a bunch of shots. I thought I meant take a lot of shots too, and not a whole lot of them were great shots, but that's just kind of if I was going to be a little bit maybe negative there, maybe that was something that I could do. Thought.
Yeah, Ament sort of, I think, was pretty much I thought he might have started to press a little bit. He missed some of his shots really badly, so I don't think that'll be what he looks like going forward as much.
And at the same time, I don't care that I appreciate it that he's confident enough to take the shots. Like, I don't necessarily wouldn't want to take that away from him either, kind of thing. But, I think he's a confident kid, and there's definitely something to be said about that too. So I thought that was a pretty high level game. We went to the game tonight. I will say one other thing though too, is you're going to the game with that new Jumbotron. If you're probably 10 rows or higher in the upper level, you're not going to be able to see much of the other end of the court. So just FYI for people going to the games in the future.
Oh,
it's gonna
boy.
be a tough watch. It's going to be a tough
boy.
watch. You're going to be watching TV pretty much if you're up there in the
So let's unpack
upper
this
level.
real quick. So you're telling me in the upper decks that the scoreboard is blocking part of the court?
We were literally 8 rows up, and we could see the literally the top of the. Now we were in the end zone, we were in the end, but yeah, we were. You could see you could barely see the top of the goal on the other side. If you're 10 or 12 rows up, you're watching TV the whole time.
If anybody else is out there that got another glimpse of that from a little bit higher up and would like to share, I would love to hear about that, because that's
great.
interesting.
The sound system was great. Stuff like that. And like I said, I'm glad I wasn't any higher because I would have been watching TV at the game today.
Goodness. Well, hey, I appreciate the call. Thanks for being there.
I appreciate it, guys. Bye.
Brian, would that shock you if it turns out that the folks in the upper part of the upper deck are not able to see the full court? Would that be a shocking development to you?
Well, I'm sure those seats, the cost of those seats won't go down one dime, even though you can't see as well. Matter of fact, they probably just went up as we speak.
Back to the phones we go. Welcome into our next caller.
Hello, gentlemen. It's Richard.
What's up, Richard?
Oh man, just a good, relaxing night watching a little basketball exhibition. So a lot of fun this time of year. When you get to this point in college football and then college basketball is cranking up, it's a good time of year as a sports fan. So a lot to watch, and exhibition for Tennessee's part. I tell you that to me, going in that second half, you could definitely tell Duke intensity was like at a NCAA tournament level. They were extremely physical. They were completely into it defensively, playing a lot harder than the Vols. I think that was the biggest difference to me in the second half, is just the intensity level that I saw out of Duke. They treated it like a tournament game, and like I said, Boozer played 39 minutes. They really wanted to win that game, and Tennessee, I thought, treated it like an exhibition game. And as far as Gillespie shooting that many shots, well, when you ain't got a two-guard out there shooting the ball like we've had the last couple of years, your point guard's going to get a lot of shots. So to me, that would be the only thing coming out of the game and going forward to this year is what are we going to be able to get out of that two-guard? Because to me, that's the question mark of the team. I think physicality will be there. What would you say? Maybe Florida? I mean, Florida will have a physically imposing team. They're big. But is there many more teams, I think, that have that kind of physical presence? Because I thought Duke was physical. I thought they were long, physical, and they played with great intensity. So I just don't know how many more teams you're going to run into that way. And as much as they talked about Boozer, I'll give the kid credit, guys, that is one impressive 18-year-old kid. Outstanding basketball player. Sees the floor, passes well, very physical, strong. He's very, very good. And they got another good one. So.
All right, Richard, I appreciate you.
See ya.
Yeah, he's maybe not the most athletic person, but impressive's a good way. I mean, he just big, strong, worked his body well,
Yeah,
kind of maneuvered into position. Really impressive young player.
His dad's not athletic either, so it kind of. But they're both the same type of mold.
Yeah, I mean,
And
Carlos
I don't think
Boozer
too
is
many
one of the
players
better
can do
players
that
of
to him.
that era. Boy, we're talking about Carlos Boozer. We had a Scooter McFadden reference. Axl Rose is on TV at the halftime deal, and the Steelers are wearing whatever 1930, whatever that's supposed to be tonight. This is kind of an odd night in the sports world. It feels like we're going backwards.
Classic, iconic uniforms, and that's what they're wearing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh well.
Couple thoughts from Matt Dixon, who probably is not joining us on here, but he did have a few thoughts. I want to share them. Anytime you can get a guy like Matt's thoughts on here, it's going to make this show more intelligent. So certainly want to get to those. He said it's a good first half, especially with all the substitutions. He liked the front court physicality and the potential depth. That's something that we talked about earlier. Played 5-on-4 for 20-plus minutes with Boswell in the game, and clearly that Barnes is driving home a point to the rest of the team. We've talked about that. Some other callers have talked about that. The roster could probably trade a post player for another shooter who could help Ament and Gillespie, who both have the green light and are willing shooters. You can say that again. And Ament will be good, but struggle versus physicality. Boozer might be the best player we will see all season. A lot of those points had been hit on by different folks, but I think a lot of those that we would definitely agree with. And lastly, he says Goldbrick is right on the new scoreboard. Way too big and close to the court. And, so I had somebody else shoot me a picture of the scoreboard. It definitely looks good, but that'll be interesting to see. And we got a full bank of calls here. We won't go all night long. We have been going for about 48 minutes, 47 minutes here, so we'll probably take it to about the hour mark, and then we'll be on and we'll be off. So we'll go back to the phones and keep them rolling in and get as many of them as we can in here. Hey, I appreciate you personally. I appreciate you for listening, for calling in here on a substitute teacher day here. I appreciate you helping us participate and make this thing run. Let's go back to the phones. Hey, you're on the air.
Hello, guys. It's Magnum.
Hey, Magnum. Good to hear from you.
I was looking up some things about Amari Abram.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I mean, he's wearing number 77. That's kind of weird.
I totally loved his look. The 77, the like 3 size too big, looks like it's been worn and wrinkled, but like not folded. Undershirt, the headband. I mean, the guy looked like he was coming out of one of those like late Buzz Peterson teams, and I'm here for it.
They gave him, they said he was starting at guard. They probably thought, well, it's still football season. Give him a 77.
Well, as long as he doesn't lay down in the middle of the court after a free throw or something, try to buy a couple more TV timeouts.
But then I got to look it up some things, and he had a decent freshman year at Ole Miss, and then kind of fell off. What are they saying about this guy?
I think he and especially Berg. I think Berg especially. I mean, you saw. I don't know how many he hit. He may have just hit the one, but there was a 3-point shot, and he was open. But I mean, the word was pure that came to mind when he shot that. I think between those two, to me, I think those guys. Just looking at what I saw tonight, those guys are getting more minutes. I think those are two guys that are going to absorb a lot of those Boswell minutes if this game's truly counted.
Because we're deep in the front court.
No question. Matt mentioned a moment ago.
And not very deep in the back court.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we've got a very good point guard. Gillespie, he's pretty solid.
Yeah, and I think that's one of his worst performances you'll see all year. I do think he's capable of throwing up a couple of those throughout the season, but I think more times than not, and even if Ament does freshman things, I don't think you're going to see both he and Ament struggle like they did. I think one of them, more times than not, will kind of pick the other one up. And I think there'll be some nights, Magnum, where both of those guys are on, and on a night like that, and this is without J.P. Estrella, maybe your post player, especially offensively, he had 5 points. But if those two guys on the wing are hitting at the same time, I don't know that anybody's beating this Tennessee team.
And the folks are talking about playing Boozer. I mean, he's going to have to play a lot for them, so that was pretty smart to play him the whole game tonight. I mean, I would want him to play a lot. I mean, I would want him on during regular season play. If I was them, I would want him on the court as much as possible. That guy's awesome.
Yeah, he was a force. I mean, you knew the guy was good coming in, but how at that age, he's a big body guy, but how at that age he was able to kind of manhandle some older veteran guys was a little surprising to me.
Yeah, he looked like a solid player already.
I think rebounding is going to be a strength for Tennessee going forward, but you wouldn't tell it with Boozer tonight.
No.
Yeah. And I mean, Ament, I'm sure it'll take him a little bit of time. I'm sure he was probably just unreal in high school. A guy that big, playing all over the floor. I'm sure nobody could guard him.
I think he's been pretty darn good leading up to this point. I mean, at the pro day, you saw some highlights from. If I'm not mistaken, unless I'm misremembering, I think he had some nice stats against Ohio State. So I don't think. I think this was sort of the abnormal. I don't think this is.
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. He'll get up to speed.
Yeah.
He'll figure it out playing against those guys. So I wouldn't read too much into that for him tonight. He's going to run up against a lot of teams that he's going to dominate because they're not going to be Duke.
Yeah. Yeah, and Akpara down low, again, you saw it through flashes, but Brian, you're right. To me, he looks a lot more comfortable, and like they have helped him to develop much more of a well-rounded offensive game, and not just a guy who's going to get points solely by kind of putbacks and alley-oops this year, and that's a good sight to see, because the reality is, we talked about earlier, Tennessee didn't run a ton of offense today. The reality is, Ament's going to be a guy that you want to get in space alone, and you want to get some isolation on, and you want to get him working, operating, and not clogging things up. And Estrella, being a guy who can shoot it from outside, I think Akpara is going to have some opportunities where he's going kind of one-on-one against a guy, and there's going to be some opportunities for, defenses are going to have to leave somebody open at some point, and perhaps that's Akpara, and they're forcing him to take a mid-range. But what I saw from him was extremely promising.
Yeah, and I don't think we won't get bullied around in paint, but I'm just worried. Hopefully, some of those guards will progress some, and we'll find somebody that'll be a good two-guard for us. So, all right, guys. Well, good talking to you.
Yeah, good to hear from you. Thanks for calling in. Let's go back to the phones. Got an open line. If you want to jump in, got to do it quickly. Let's welcome back to the next caller.
Hey, guys. Mike in Portland.
Hey, Mike. Good to hear from you.
You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you.
Great job. I thought the game was done very well. The commentators did a nice job setting it up. And all I was really looking for was last year we would get stymied on offense for 4 or 5 minutes, and it would just drive me nuts. It seems like this team may be a little bit weaker on defense, but I think they can fill in those blanks where we would lose a lead because we just couldn't score for 4 or 5 or 6 minutes sometimes. It would just drive you nuts. So I'm hoping. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and I think even just adding a guy like Estrella and his offensive abilities last year, I think that could have helped that. And goodness, you mentioning that just brought back some flashbacks of just some anger moments last year when you would just so frustrating watching this team just go stagnant. But I think you're right. I think there's a trade-off. I think that you defensively, you might not be quite what you were. But I do think that you have taken a step forward offensively, and I think that's okay to take that drop off defensively, as long as you're making up for it on the other end. And I think
that's what we need. That's what we needed to do. That is that's what I wanted to see this year. And I think we can have a really good team this year. Hey, you guys are doing a great job. Talk to you guys later.
Hey, I appreciate you, Mike.
Barnes shifted his philosophy when he got Dalton Connect, who they said was sort of weak defensively, but he can make up for it by scoring. So I think that's sort of we've kind of seen that going forward, is he's sacrificing some defense knowingly that he's going to score more points and hopefully avoid those 5-6 minute field goal drops.
Laura, if you're listening, the phones, I've heard y'all say some stuff about the phones when they go kaput. I think they just did that. There was a little pop in my ear, and then they went. So we will wait just a moment, but that may be it for us. That may be maybe our cue to go here.
Yeah,
but
someone's trying to tell us to go.
It's 10:10. Let's see, how long are we gone? 56 minutes. We'll call this about an hour. Brian, your final thoughts, and I apologize to that caller. We had one more caller that was on hold we were going to try to get to, and I apologize for that. But I want to thank everybody for calling, for listening in, and helping the backup today make it through the show. And excited for a long season with Tony in here, and Tony will be back tomorrow. He's just taking a night to if you heard him over the weekend, his vocal cords certainly needed a day off, so we can at least give him one day off. Although technically he worked this morning. Brian, they were on there till about 3 o'clock, I think. So
I was there with them for the most part. So
I tried to give it a go with them. I just had to tap out at some point. But Brian, your thoughts on tonight's ball game overall? Lot to take away from this type of game.
Yeah, and I wish we didn't have to wait a week plus to see them play again. They don't play their first game until Monday, a week from tomorrow night. But it's really, I'm excited about what could be. I like the fact that college basketball season starts earlier and earlier. I think it's the earliest. November 3rd is the earliest it's ever started, I think, if you look at the calendar date. So, yeah, and then it goes all the way through Saturday, March 7th. So we're going to have this team to keep us entertained at least a couple times a week all the way through March, and that's exciting.
Yeah, and I do think that entertaining they will be, especially offensively. I think that this will be a very fun team to watch. I know it's hard for a lot of fans to get into basketball this early, and I get that, especially when the football team's semi in contention still for the playoff, and hopefully they can keep that up. The good news is for our friends up north in Kentucky, they can pretty much solely focus on basketball season as it gets kicked off. So, Brian Hartman, I appreciate you. Miss Laura and Tony, I appreciate you all for helping us prep this show. They will be back with you tomorrow from 11 to 1. On Fox Sports Knoxville, and of course on the Tony Basilio platforms, YouTube, Twitter, and of course his app. Thank you again for everybody who listened. We'll talk to you guys soon. Again, Tony will be back on the air tomorrow with you. This has been the preseason edition of the Garza Law Tennessee Basketball Overtime. Good night.